Unleash the force on flies this summer with ManaPro Force Fly Control. Equine fly protection should not be approached as a one-size-fits-all. What works for one horse may be completely different than what works for another horse, and that's why ManaPro Force offers a wide range of solutions that adapt to individual horses and riders' needs. From everyday utility to premium repellency to all natural protection, Force has whatever you need to keep those pesky flies away. For an everyday solution, check out Pro Force sprays, masks, and spot-ons. The water and sweat-resistant OptiForce spray will stay on in rain and heavy exercise, so your horse is always protective. Don't want to use chemicals? Our all-natural Nature's Force spray, wipes, and feed-through supplements will be great for you. To learn more about the Force Fly Control, check out the Horse Fly Control page on manapro.com or follow ManaPro Horse on Facebook and Instagram. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Winning Insights, a bonus series of the Ride Podcast. This week's episode features horse and rider on-demand expert Monique Potts, who talks about an independent seat, which is something she learned from her English background. She explains how it transfers over to the Western discipline and how you can use it in your own riding. All right, here's Monique.
Something that I think I also kind of bridge over from the English world to the Western world, that it gets talked about a little bit more in the English world and broken down a little bit more, is an independent seat. And what that means is really being able to utilize my seat to maintain the rhythm of my horse, right? So the seat is what's holding and maintaining the rhythm that my horse is in, right? So my seat right now is holding my walk. My seat's moving in rhythm with my horse. That leaves my legs open to be able to ask my horse's body to move someplace, right? So eventually that might be that I want to keep my horse in a walk, but ask for the hind leg to, or the hunches to be in, or the hindquarters to be in, right? So I could ask with my leg for something different than what my seat is telling my horse to do, which is also independent from what my hands are asking my horse to do. So understanding that you're able to have your horse maybe bend or create a frame with your hands while maintaining the seat and speed with my seat maintains the speed and rhythm, and then my leg controls where the body goes, right? So what happens when we first start riding for a lot of people is a lot of times those things interfere with each other. So there's a lot of times that someone might kick on their horse and then their hands accidentally bump on their horse, right? So I'm giving two mixed signals and I'm confusing what's happening here, how I want to create maybe frame in my horse's face, and I'm jerking on my hands because I'm trying to kick my leg. So I want to be able to utilize all those tools separately and not have them interfere with each other. Or I might go to kind of kick on my horse and I stop riding for a second, right? And then my horse kind of starts being like, well, I don't know if you want me to go or not go, right? I have a lot of people, like I can sit here still and move my legs and she doesn't think I want her to go. Where if I kind of soften my seat and I move with her, then she knows, oh, the seat is what dictates that we should be moving, and your leg is influencing the rest of my body. So that's something that check in with yourself if you start having trouble, right? If your horse maybe keeps wanting to stop and you're having to kick them a lot. Is your seat giving them a mixed signal? Are you stopping riding in your seat and then trying to kick as hard as you can with your leg and wondering why your horse is not wanting to go off your leg? Well, it may be because your seat has zero movement in it, right? Or am I blocking my horse in their face and pulling on the brakes while I'm trying to send them forward with my seat and my leg? So just kind of check in over and over with yourself. Now I find in Western riding, because we do things a little bit more on a loose rein, we don't have a tendency of hanging sometimes as much as maybe an English rider does, because they're maintaining and holding a contact a little bit more. But it can be tricky when you start to kind of hold a little bit more here, that all of a sudden my seat doesn't quit moving, right? See, like the second I quit moving my seat, she wanted to follow me back, right? I can control and stop my horse. I didn't change my hands at all. My hands maintained exactly the same weight. All I did was quit riding in my seat. So if I can create that change just with my seat, then I can hold and maintain her frame right here to keep her nice and round, and then I can quit riding and she starts to follow my seat right there. And I want to be able to practice like, hey, yeah, could I pull you over here and notice, does it impact the rest of my body? I have a tendency sometimes of maybe leaning one way or another. The other thing I might check in with when it comes to having your body parts not be uneven, right? So I sometimes maybe have a tendency of like, oh, well, my left hand comes up here while my right hand ends up down here. So another thing I do to kind of have body awareness is find checkpoints. Is there a spot where my elbow grazes on one side? Okay, does it graze in that same spot on the other side, so that I can kind of maintain an evenness that doesn't confuse my horse? If you can kind of have baselines for yourself. Notice like, oh, do I turn to the left or right, and my shoulder when I'm going this way leans this way or this way? The more that you can stay centered, the more you can stay even, the easier it is for your horse to maintain balance. But that's where, when beginners have a lot of trouble, especially because I like to get my horses really tuned in, my horses are kind of like, hey, you're falling off. I maybe don't think I should go. Like you could see even there where I kind of leaned a little bit to the side, she starts to go, I don't think I should keep going, right? So just if you start having trouble with something, check in with your own body. Is there something you're doing that's getting in the way of your horse figuring out what the question that you're asking is?